Hi, my name is Brittany Evans. This presentation is designed for elementary educators in order to support mathematics instruction with literature. I plan to use this professional development opportunity over the summer where teachers will work through 3 breakout sessions with this presentation. Successful math users search for patterns and relationships and think about connections. Bowler later states how all subjects extend to different levels. The reason so many people think math is the most difficult is the inaccessible way it is often taught. My desire for this professional development is to begin to make mathematics instructions more accessible for our students by using literature as a springboard for the mathematical experience. As Raidbog stated, allowing language and mathematics learning to grow together naturally and imaginatively. The National Council of Teachers of Mathematics called for the use of children's literature within the mathematics instruction in 1981. The Council again in 2000 recommended that students should do more reading, writing, and discussing ideas in the math classroom and learn mathematical ideas in real-world contexts. Research has shown many benefits of connecting mathematics and literature. Literature makes mathematics more interesting, engages students in real-life contexts, helps emphasize mathematical process skills, generates mathematical observations and questions, and supports mathematical reasoning. Literature makes mathematics more interesting. Out of the 5 ways to make mathematics more interesting, according to Busick, reading a piece of literature connects with 3 of the ways: telling a story through the narrative of a text, using the piece of literature as an opening hook, and using the illustrations of the piece of literature to support the use of images over words independently. Bince's research in 2011 supported this as he stated, reading aloud sparks student interest in posing and solving math problems. Literature also engages students in real-life contexts. LeBoy-Rush found learning occurs best when students engage in finding real solutions to real-world problems. But Golden's research noted that one of the largest barriers in students' mathematical understanding is the lack of context for their learning. So how can we instruct using real-life contexts? One way to do that is through literature. When using literature, students see mathematics in the context of a story rather than a word problem. Since children are familiar with narratives and think in these terms, the students are simply building on this strength. This will help them understand when, why, and even how a mathematical concept is used according to Golden. The concepts are no longer abstract ideas through mental manipulation, but direct concrete experiences through the characters within the literature. Literature helps emphasize mathematical process skills. NCTM emphasizes 3 process skills: communication, making connections, and creating representations. Literature supports each of these elements. By using communication, literature naturally introduces a mode of communication for the students because books are written with mathematical instruction described in words instead of numbers alone. As Murr, Bragg, and Livy noted, picture books represent mathematical concepts through their pose, illustrations, logical development, and context, and provide excellent opportunities for engaging in rich mathematical discussions. In terms of making connections, when subjects are taught together instead of in isolation, the students have a fuller, more complex understanding of how the subjects relate in school and in the real world, according to Golden. Creating representations is also an important part of incorporating literature. Students can create charts, pictures, or patterns from the story. Open-ended tasks can also support these connections. Literature generates mathematical observations and questions. Wolfram's stages of working with mathematics are supported through the use of literature, as Thomas and Feng discovered that students often make many mathematical observations and develop questions based on the literature being read. One of the drawbacks is that only literature that is rigorously and systematically assessed for its quality and value for teaching mathematics will do. So how can we combat this drawback? We can select texts using criteria by Binz and the rest of his researchers. They do this through a series of questions. You want to select a text and then ask yourself each of these. Is the book's mathematics content correct and accurate, visible and effectively presented, intellectually and developmentally appropriate for its audience? Does the book facilitate the reader's involvement in and use and transfer of its mathematics? Do the book's mathematics and story complement each other? How great are the resources needed to help readers benefit from the book's mathematics? Using this list, Binz and his researchers created a list of helpful texts. I created a Word document for each of you that has this list along with the criteria for the text selection. I also incorporated other resources that provide rich text lists to connect with mathematical practices as well. At this point in the professional development, I would have teachers break out based on their grade level. They would be asked to find texts to support their grade level curriculum. After giving them some time to find these texts, we would come back and regroup. We would review the benefits of literature, and the teachers would share out their text examples. I would then go over the second drawback. The literature is only as beneficial as the supporting tasks and conversations that follow. So how can teachers create these tasks? Supporting open-ended tasks. Boller suggests to use multiple methods, pathways, and representations, inquiry opportunities, problems before the methods, add a visual component, extend the task, and convince and reason within the task. Teachers would be given classroom examples to assess the literature selection in the task and the accompanying task itself. The tasks are based on the grade levels within the elementary building that I am teaching within. I would have the teachers break out, review these examples, and then we would regroup. After regrouping, the teachers would share out on their examples. The kindergarten example includes the wing on a fly, the first grade mouse count, second grade the mud flat Olympics, grade 3 is my place in space, grade 4 includes multiple poetry examples, grade 5 2 of everything. The groups would work together to answer the following questions based on their activity. How did the literature support the mathematics? How could you change or extend the mathematics task to make it open-ended? What text could you use in your classroom to generate open-ended math tasks? Once teachers share their findings, I would have teachers once again break out. This time they would use the list of literature that they generated in the beginning to create open-ended tasks similar to the examples that each of them explored in the previous activity. We would then regroup. Teachers would share out examples. We might even be able to create a Google Drive of those texts and examples so that teachers within the grade levels could share their different tasks. I would conclude with this thought. When students use literacy strategies in math taught from children's literature, their understanding of math content increases. How do you plan to incorporate literature in your math block? This is a list of the following resources that I used within my presentation. Thank you for your time.